Hi guys, and welcome back to the Blues Focus channel today for another opposition view video. I know you guys have been really enjoying these, and it's just always great to hear what it's like from the opposite side of the trench, I suppose. Today I'm joined by Matt from, I'm pretty sure I get it right, the Elm Park Royals podcast.
That's it, yeah.
Cool, cool, yeah. My memory tends to suck with names, so apology with that. I did this on the Bristol City one. I accidentally messed up the name, so I'm glad I got it right. Um,
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
I have the exact same problem when I'm doing these, so I wouldn't worry about it.
cheers, mate. But yeah, no, obviously, if you're a Reading fan and you're new to this and you haven't heard of them, even though I'm sure you probably have, let's be honest. But yeah, no, if you haven't, definitely go check them out, and we'll promote you a little bit more later. But just kind of getting straight into things with you, Matt. What are your overall thoughts on Reading's season so far?
Well, it's obviously been a lot better than many of us would have expected in the off season. We fired Mark Bowen towards the end of summer, replaced him with an unknown guy in Veljko Paunović, who had a terrible time in the MLS. I think he's one of the statistically worst, if not the worst, MLS manager ever.
Wow.
So yeah, we weren't expecting very much. And then we went on a run of, I think it was 8 wins in 9 or 7 wins in 8 at the start of the season. Built up a good buffer to the teams below us. Since then, our form has fluctuated quite a bit, but it doesn't matter now. We've kind of changed the mathematics for ourselves to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a pretty dire loss against Wickham recently kind of put a bit of a dour note on things. But since then, we've won 3 out of our last 4, and things are looking up again, I think.
That's good. I did not know that about your current manager. I knew he'd been in the MLS beforehand, but I was unaware of the poor record. Um,
I think Chicago Fire are not a very good team. Won't run very well, so he does have that. But
yeah,
yeah, he was not great there.
that's. I suppose that's kind of worrying when you see him come in. I don't. Well, where does that? It was kind of so out of the blue because I thought Mark Bowen had actually had quite an impressive run at Reading when he was in charge. So I was surprised to see it end the way it did. What do you know why that kind of happened, or why they chose to replace?
No, it's still a bit of a mystery. There was talk of Mark Bowen going back to his sporting director role, but he didn't want to do that. He wants to be a football manager, and in fact, he was kind of trying to talk up his links with the Birmingham job, but
Yeah, I
doesn't
saw
look like he
that.
got that one.
I wouldn't have
Um,
minded.
Well, he came in, he did a good job for a month or two, and then it all went downhill from there. He plays a very defensive style of football. It wasn't great to watch at times. I'm not entirely sure what the owners saw because they did it so late during the summer break as well. The team had to fly out to Portugal to meet Belco. It was all it was such a strange situation, but
Yeah.
hey, I guess they made the right decision.
Definitely, yeah. It's been a crazy season for you, really. I think there's been a few losses that you think you look at the squad on paper and just think, how have you lost that one then? Especially with the form you've been in this season in general has been very impressive. I think you've been in and around the playoffs, if not still are. Um, so
Yeah.
I think it's certainly not been a disappointment, and I'm sure your manager is obviously delighted that it's gone so well, considering the previous job might not have been so nice, so to speak.
Yeah, well, he had the winning of the World Cup with Serbia under 20s on his CV as well.
Oh,
So
that's good.
yeah, that was impressive. When you go back and watch the games, there was a healthy slice of luck in there. I don't think they actually won any of their knockout games in normal time. I'm making him sound like a really bad manager. He's not a bad manager at all. But yeah, I think he has a very definite style of football. At least at Reading, he's started to play a 4-2-3-1 with Lucas João up top. So
Yeah.
um, getting the best out of Lucas João, he's always had it in him when playing for Reading, but he's been injured a lot of the time. Mark Bowen's downfall in many ways was actually creating a formation that required João and then him getting injured.
Ah,
Whereas Veljko hasn't had that, or not as much. I think he was injured for a few games, but yeah, that guy's been on fire so far this season.
I was going to say he's definitely been probably one of, if not the best striker this season, bar maybe Ivan Tony. who actually had quite a difficult start, if I remember not. First 4 or 5 games, Ivan Toney struggled, but he's on fire now. But I'd definitely say Lucas João is up there to kind of take the crown right now of best striker in the championship.
Yeah, for sure. And he actually has quite a good supporting cast. Unfortunately, they've kind of been injured in and out. Sort of Yaku Mate, John Swift, those guys either chip in with goals or they chip in with assists. Obviously, Michael Elise is the best player in the championship, bar Lucas João. So I think he has 12 assists or something. So kind of
Jesus.
crazy. Lucas João himself can score from basically anywhere on the pitch as well. He can run with it. He's good with his feet. He can shoot from 20 yards. He does occasionally miss very easy chances, which is his only downside, and he's not great with penalties. But other than things, as Birmingham fans will know, I just remembered.
Yeah, I was going to say
Uh,
he blundered one against us. Wasn't his best game.
no, he has a very definite penalty technique, and I think he liked to pick the kind of left hand side as he looked at it, and then I think he realised that he needed a second kind of option, so he added in that stutter step that I think kind of cost him against Birmingham, and then it just his confidence on penalties seemed to just go from that point, and I'm
Yeah,
not entirely sure I think he missed his last three or something, so yeah, we've changed
Jesus.
penalty now, so yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, in fairness to him, Neil Etheridge has faced 4 penalties this season and he saved 3 of them. So I think that just kind of speaks of Neil's quality as well. So it's never going to be an easy ride taking a penalty against him anyway. So I definitely feel for Zhao in that sense. But Etheridge was fantastic when he first joined the squad, but it's kind of just gone downhill from there with the rest of them. Well, I mean, I've spoken my thoughts on that plenty of times. Don't need to get into that. But yeah, no, I suppose kind of this well links well with the next question, really. Who should Blues look out for on the field on Wednesday?
Yeah, so definitely Lucas Zhao,
Yeah,
definitely Michael Elise, who is still only 19. I think he's 19
I
now.
was going to say the young
Um,
talent in that squad is balmy. It's brilliant.
yeah, so we also have players like Ovi Ajaria, who's only 22, Omar Richards, who's 21, 22, and
Linked
he's
with
off the
Bayern Munich
buy-in.
as well.
Yeah, I think well, so everywhere keeps saying it's confirmed, but neither club have actually confirmed it yet. So
Oh, okay.
um, Tom Holmes and Tom McIntyre, they've come through the academy. The actual players to look out for, I guess, is just the attacking quartet, whichever 4 players that happens to be, because there are some injuries at the minute. Yaku Mate, I'm not sure he'll start, but he'll probably come off the bench. He has the ability to change games. He scored against Nottingham Forest coming off the
He
bench.
scored
So
against us a few times, to be fair.
yeah, I think he scored and won the penalty last time at the Medeski.
Yep.
So in fact, all the Twitter accounts today are saying Yaku Mate scored 5 goals against Birmingham this century, which is 3 more than any other Reading player or something. So I'm sure you're already aware about his his quality.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been there for all of them, to be honest, not gonna lie to you. Do you know what, it's funny because I actually remember his goal against us last season, Reading away when we won 3-2. I remember his headed goal to equalise because I was on the front row and I picked up the ball and threw it to the lad who took the corner that he headed the goal in from, and I thought, fuck, I should have just kept the ball.
Yeah, probably slow it down.
I was going to say, I wish I'd never thrown it to play. I wish I'd chucked it backwards towards the fans. But no, I gave him the ball and then he scored from the corner. I was like,
It's a lesson we all have to learn.
oh. Exactly, yeah. But no, Yako Mate is definitely one to look out for. And he seems like a bit of a cult hero for you lot. I don't know how you see him,
Yeah,
really.
his personality on social media and just everywhere endears him to fans. He actually came and sat amongst the fans when he was injured at the back end of the season before the
Yeah.
last season, I think. Um, yeah, he is just like a shining light. He always seems so positive. I think that you'd be hard pressed to find a Reading fan that doesn't love him.
Yeah, I can imagine. He seems like a great guy in general and also a good goal scorer as as
Yeah,
well as
that
that.
always helps too.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, no, definitely Lucas Yao will be probably the main man to look out for on Wednesday. Then I imagine. Um, but I suppose talking about memories and Yaku Mate and whatnot, what would be your favourite memory on playing Birmingham?
Yeah, so I was at uni of Birmingham back in the day, a few years ago now, and I think we played at St Andrews in 2014. It was 1-1, and Chris Gunter gets further forward than I've ever seen him before to roll the ball across to Joby McAnuff in the final few minutes, and the away end just went absolutely crazy. Yeah, there's not been many better days than that, to be honest. Since then, things have been a little bit downhill for both sides
Yeah,
probably.
both
But
sides.
yeah, no, that was definitely a good day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, just I don't know. I feel like Chris Gunter bombing up the pitch just gives me Alan Hutton vibes, to be honest. And that's depressing enough when I think about it. Um,
Sorry, I won't remind you of that goal Alan Hutton scored then.
yeah, it's fine. It's engraved in there for the rest of my life as permanent scarring. So it is what it is. But clearly, older players seem to do well against Blues. I mean, I love Joby McAnuff though. I think he's not got any affiliation with Blues. I just like him as a professional. I think he's wonderful whenever he's on commentary, even what he does for Orient. My dad's a massive Leighton Orient fan, so that's kind of why I know a bit about Joby. And obviously he's now interim manager there, caretaker manager,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, he's there
great to
for
see.
maybe till the end of the season, I think, or something. Fingers crossed he does well there, because one day I think all Reading
He'll
fans would
end up
like
at
to see him
Reading,
back in the
won't he?
dugout. Yeah,
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 definitely. I think that was I'd probably say probably the best spell of his career, I imagine, at Reading.
yeah, I think so. Brendan Rodgers, in that kind of ill-fated 6 months he had here, I think brought him with him from Watford. So um, Brendan Rodgers didn't turn out too well, but Joe McAnuff definitely did.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. I do think he's great. Even now, like still a great actual player when you watch him this season. He's been quite the maestro in midfield for Leighton Orient. So no, it's great to see proper professional, and hopefully he does return to Reading in some capacity one day. I wouldn't mind that myself. Um, but yeah, no, for me, probably favourite memory would be last season away. Like that, it was just so good when that Jeremy Bella free kick went in. Literally, it was his debut, and he's just bang on in from absolutely nothing. And I went flying. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I barely remember last season, to be honest. It's both the shortest and longest season that happened. Like, just it's all a blur to me. It
I,
didn't
d-
help that we were so bad for half of it too. So
I don't blame you, mate. We weren't great either, unfortunately, but we were probably worse after lockdown. But it is what it is. I suppose looking more to the positives, which is this season, you're fifth right now, and that must feel fantastic. I'd never know what that feels like anymore. But yeah, so where do you think you'll be placing at the end of the season then, mate?
it's a tough one. We've got some of those injuries concerns back, which should give us a bit more cover than we had earlier in the season. So fingers crossed we won't go on one of the horrible runs that we've had a couple of times. Anywhere in the playoffs, I'd be happy with. And although we still have to play some of the guys in the top, I think 8, I can definitely see us doing it. So I think automatics are probably gone now, but I I'd back us in the playoffs, to be honest. I think we've got the ability there to at least win the semi-finals.
I'd say you've got a fair chance in the playoffs this year. Thing is though, if Barnsley don't fucking stop winning, I I
Yeah,
I don't know. I I feel like I'd have to back them in
yeah, we've got them in a couple of games in what is definitely going to be a 6-pointer. So
100%. Yeah,
uh, uh, I think they're the ones that you'd want to avoid in the semi-finals of the playoffs at the minute. But
100%.
I
Yeah,
mean, there are still some big teams there. So
I think is it Swansea and Brentford, or is it Watford and Brentford?
it changes weekly at the minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
So
does. They keep rotating.
yeah,
I'm curious to be fair. I'm gonna have a quick little butchers now. What we got? Swansea, yeah, Swansea. That makes sense. I can't believe Watford are second now. They've really turned it around under their new manager. But I mean, that's a different conversation for a different day. But yeah, no, I'd back you to be honest to at least win the semi. Whether you'd have playoff final heartbreak again.
Oh, we have such a bad record at Wembley. Although, having said that, my girlfriend is a Sunderland fan, and they won at Wembley on Sunday for the first time in 48 years or something.
Clearly,
So,
luck is changing, my friend.
maybe we can have a bit of that luck too.
Yes, 100%. It was quite nice to see Sunderland win the EFL trophy. To be fair, I refuse to call it the Papa John's Trophy because I can't take it seriously if I do.
It's
Um,
had some terrible names over the years. I'm not sure if Papa
yeah,
John's is better than Checker Trade or not.
I, do you know what, I think I prefer Checker Trade. I'd prefer Johnson's paints, sure, certainly, or Auto
Yeah,
windscreens, or Leyland Daff. It goes far. It's definitely best when it was just called the EFL Trophy and left at that. Um,
yeah, not as much money though, is it?
no, unfortunately, but that's all it's about these days with the trophies. But at least the Emirates FA Cup sounds a bit better. So I suppose kind of moving on a bit, just before I ask you kind of the last couple of questions, I feel like a lot of Blues fans will be curious about this. How has Michael Morrison been for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, he's been amazing up until a couple of games ago. He'd played every minute of the season. But the problem is he then broke down. So I'm not sure we'll be seeing him on, tomorrow night.
Uh,
He's just been such a rock at the back, which is a bit of a cliche.
Proper leader
But
as well.
yeah, exactly. Like Reading have lacked that for a few seasons. I mean, Liam Moore is club captain and also plays at centre back, but he just doesn't seem to have the same kind of, well, as you say, leadership qualities as Morrison does, and especially when we've had those young centre backs having to kind of rotate into that other spot while Moore was injured. I think it was that calming influence that just helped everyone.
Yeah.
So hopefully he won't be too much of a loss because we've managed to bed in those other centre backs. But he was in the talk with a lot of people of being player of the season this year. I'm not sure if I would go that far, but he's well regarded.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure it'd be up there. I mean, I'm still hurting over that one, to be honest.
Free transfer as well.
I know.
It was good business by Reading.
Definitely. I just wish we'd offered him his 2 years. That was all he wanted. He just wanted 2 years. End of story. Nothing else. All is fine. And we kept offering him a year. And that is just classic of the current regime we're under. Dong Ren is a psychopath. And unfortunately, he is in control of the majority of the club. And it's quite depressing.
Well,
Um,
with hindsight, I would have offered him 2 years. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's still doing it now in the league, and look at where you are when he's playing. So, it's frustrating, and he's been our best centre back for years, and he's a goal scoring centre back, which
That's
helps
actually one
massively.
thing we miss now. Sorry, that's one thing we miss now. He's out. Is that we don't have that same threat from corners. Hopefully we'll be able to get
He's a
one.
beast
But
from corners, isn't he? He just
yeah,
is.
yeah. Tom McIntyre. Speaking of people to look out for, Tom McIntyre is very good from corners, but whether he sometimes has different kind of runs to Morrison, so they're not
Ah,
always goal scoring runs, but they do tend to make something happen.
yeah, definitely. I think, to be fair, McIntyre is a bit of a beast on Football Manager and FIFA. So,
You should
uh,
see the volleyed goal he scored versus Luton in December.
I will go and have a
Johnny
look.
Johnny Luco plays in a corner and first time volley into the far corner from Tom McIntyre. It was good.
That's brilliant. Even a Luco though, like what a career turnaround it's been for him. Like left in the dust and then out of nowhere back in the light.
Yeah, I think he's going to get let go over summer because he's kind
Yeah,
of one of the last players that are on the kind of ridiculous contracts that Ron Gourlay gave out. Um, and going back to summer, one of the reasons why Reading fans thought this would be kind of a rebuilding year is hopefully the financial fair play situation resolves itself in this summer.
has that
Um,
still not resolved itself?
no, so Rodrigo Riquelme, who's now at Bournemouth, was actually training with Reading for like a month or longer over summer, but Reading couldn't get the clearance to sign him.
Oh,
So yeah, so it's been a hard few years, but fingers crossed. I think the year's kind of come off the books soon. So yeah, who knows? Maybe this is going to be a really good foundation year, if nothing else.
100%. You know, even if you don't go up this year, there's every chance you could just be even better next season. It's all
Yeah.
just about that recruitment, and I have every faith from how you've recruited over the last few years or so, that you'd be fine. Other than George Puskas, what a fucking diabolical one that was. Thanks for saving us on that one, to be honest.
Oh, I love George Puskas, to be honest. I think,
Really?
yeah, I mean, he did have a tough time of it last year. Started scoring some penalties, but this year he's been out injured for most of it, which has been a bit of a problem. Last few games he's looked good though, so it would be nice to get one over on Blues fans and for him to score.
Yeah, I can imagine, and I feel like Twitter would pop off if that was the case.
100%.
Because I feel like Blues and Reading seem to have this weird Twitter rivalry.
Reading have a Twitter rivalry with everyone to make up for the fact that we have an actual rivalry with nobody.
So I saw a funny tweet the other day. I think it was from the Championship, or no, Second Tier podcast. And they put, is the East Midlands derby the biggest derby outside, outside the Premier League, and I saw a reply to the tweet that said the Reading Blues Twitter rivalry is bigger, and that got more likes than the Second Tier pod post. So I don't know, that one tickled me.
Well, it'd be nice to have a real rivalry. So yeah, let's start it. Let's do it. It'll be good.
So it's something to do. I mean, our main rivals are in the Premier League, so I don't need to go into that one anymore, because I'll just upset myself. But it is what it is, and they're flying. But I suppose, kind of just finally from you, what are your thoughts on Birmingham and our season so far?
Well, that's a tough one. Not great. It's very annoying because in December I definitely thought that we would pick up the win there, and then it was John Torrell, right, that
Yeah, John
popped up
Terrell
and
with
scored.
the game of his
Terrell, sorry.
life.
Yeah, scored two amazing goals. So
Yeah,
I hope that doesn't happen again.
that's all he's done all season, by the way. Not gonna
Oh,
lie.
really? Yeah, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
That is often the way. So yeah, obviously from an outsider's point of view, it just seems to be a downward spiral for you. And I don't know whether Lee Bowyer is going to make that better or not. You might be saved by the fact that there are worse teams in the division, but
I hope
there
so.
also are teams that, like, I can see Rotherham picking up more points. Whether Birmingham have
Yeah.
the same capability is difficult to know yet. I mean, I think it can always go one of two ways in this division, can't it? I mean,
Yeah.
there is a scenario where he completely turns it round, and sometimes you don't even have to play that well to pick up points. You just have to have that real kind of stereotypical kind of grunt, and it just pays off. But it feels tough to see you kind of climbing back up the table. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, mate. And I think I'm not going to judge yet. I will judge when I see, probably not the Reading game in particular, because he's had a day. Um, I definitely look to be a little bit more judgmental at the weekend against Watford, on where we could end up this season. But then again, that is Watford, so it's still a tough one to kind of judge him on when they're second in the league. So it's a really, really tough spell to have to start your managerial career in, like, playing fifth and then playing second. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, starting your new managerial job at Blues, it's a tough
And with
one,
only
really.
10 games left as well, like I looked at the table today and it's gone, it's flown by.
It's flown
And
by, yeah, mate.
I don't know how, I don't know. It's just one of those, because there's only 10 games left. That's another thing that could kind of be like, well, let's get through these 10 games and then reassess. Or it could just be, well, we're too far gone and we're just going to keep spiraling.
Exactly. And I think, to our advantage, the EFL have said Rotherham will not be able to extend any of their fixtures past the last day of the season. So
Mm.
on average, they're going to be playing 3.5 games a week.
I'm
Um,
not sure that does feel harsh on Rotherham, but I mean, it's probably good for you guys, as you
yeah,
say.
exactly. So we do have that kind of to our benefit. But to be honest, I've seen teams that have gone on a really good run of form because they're playing that regularly. Like it's weird. You can either really really be hit by the fatigue or you can relish it. And
Yeah, it's like the siege mentality kind of thing, isn't it? It's much easier
exactly.
to build up if you're just playing and playing and playing.
Rotherham have that though. I like Paul Warne. I do like him. I think he's a good manager. There are a couple of teams above us that are in bad form, not turning it around, that could easily be dragged into it. I mean, one of my best mates is a Derby fan, and he's certain right now. He's normally one of the most positive Derby fans there is, and it's weird. He's still certain that they're going to go down, and they're 4 points above us. And I'm like, mate, you battered us 4-0. You'll be all right.
Well, they had that very good kind of spell when Wayne Rooney first came in, and then
It's just a new manager
seems to have,
bounce, though.
yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what I guess your
It
guys are
could
hoping
happen
for as
to us,
well. Yeah.
but you never know. That bounce coming now might save us,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm hoping. I think we should have got rid of Karanka earlier, but unfortunately we haven't. This season has been a constant transitional process that's never transitioned. And it's just shit. But we've got to move on now, and we finally made the right decision. I mean, Dong Ren, the bloke who I mentioned earlier, it wasn't his decision. It was the proper owners above him that pay him the money to take care of the club that have gone above his head to make this decision because he didn't want to sack Karanka because he knew Karanka was kind of his last chance as well. So where that will leave Dongren, I don't know. Hopefully not in the club anymore, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, no, I completely understand, and I think a lot of people feel that way about Blues right now. But we do seem to be escapist kind of specialists. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone remembers that last day escape, which the
yeah.
scenes that day,
Oh
impressive.
Jesus! Oh, that Caddish goal will live long in the memory of many. What a day that was. Hopefully, I wouldn't even mind repeating that ever. That's fine. But yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see how it all kind of pans out. Really, we do actually play Rotherham away soon in April. That will be a massive game. If we lose that, we're down. Simple as. Unless we've won like every game before that, then maybe I have a little bit of hope that we won't. But we'll see. That's a bit too much to ask for, considering we're playing promotion chasing teams for the next 5 matches. So yay. Um, But we'll see how that kind of pans out, really. But suppose just kind of capping things off, what's going to be your score prediction for tomorrow's game?
Yeah, so recently, as I said, we've kind of won 3 out of the last 4, and we've won them to nil. So Nottingham Forest at the weekend did score, but I'm hoping we'll go back to keeping clean sheets, and I'll say we'll edge it 1-0.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We've had an awful home record this season. It's really not pretty. We're bottom of the table when it comes to home record. We've been good away from home this season because we've beat teams like Reading, who were up there, and we seem to do well against the big sides away from home. However, what I have noticed is when we do eventually put in a performance at home, it tends to be against the promotion chasers, um, the sides that we're an underdog compared to. So we do have that to our advantage a bit. And I really, really hope that's the case tomorrow because obviously we've got this new manager buzz, our squad on paper is good. It's hard. I know it seems mad, but I tell you what, you look at that squad on paper, you wouldn't believe it was where it was. It should be at least mid-table, at least. So I do think if Lee Bowyer plays his cards right, then we could get at least a point. So I am going to try and be positive and go 1-1. So
Reading have had a few of those seasons where our squad on paper does not reflect um, our results. So I do feel for you guys.
100%, yeah. I mean, even last season, to be fair, I remember when you were 23rd at one point, and it was like, why? How are you there?
Yeah, the last few seasons have just been haven't had a lot to cheer about. So this is a nice change.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what? I wouldn't even mind seeing Reading back in the Premier League. I think there's some foundations there that could be built on. Whether it be too soon, I don't know. But you've certainly got some really promising young talents, and I think if you want to hold on to those, promotion would do you the world of good. And
Absolutely.
you could build on those young players and really make a squad out of it. So yeah, no, we'll see, and we'll see how tomorrow goes. But best of luck for the rest of the season anyway, mate. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. But no luck for tomorrow though. That's it.
Thanks. It was good to be here.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, mate. So no, go check out their podcast. Matt is relatively new and seems very well spoken and good. I must say, mate, I'm impressed. You wouldn't think that you were new. You seem very natural. So fair play to you, mate. But go check out the Elm Park Royals podcast and all the stuff they do over there. I'll leave social links down in the bio, so go check it out there, guys. Especially if you're a Reading fan. But that's been another Opposition View episode, and thank you all for joining us, especially you Blues fans. And keep right on. And if you're feeling kind, look at the Patreon. Cheers.